All right, welcome everybody to Dave Cooper Live, where we showcase the people, the products, and the processes helping us all to build it better. And we all know who's sitting next to me right here. That's right, we got Jennifer joining us today. So, can lasting change be built in just 1 week? According to National Today, Women in Construction Week was first called Women in Construction of Fort Worth and was founded in 1953 by 16 women working in the construction industry. It was created in order to support the few women working in construction at that time. Today, we still celebrate women in construction, but at Dave Cooper Live, we also threw out the question to ChatGPT, why just 1 week? Joining me today to break this down is Jennifer. Say hi, Jennifer.
Hi, everybody.
Who definitely has an opinion on this. I've eaten my own foot many times on this topic. But first, as always, we got to have a word from our sponsors. Forward Solutions Group is successfully driving companies to succeed where others have failed. Are you looking to start a factory, optimize your existing factory, streamline your production, or take your team to the next level? Whatever your needs are, Forward has a solution for you. Reach out to Ben at forwardsolutionsgroup.com. Howick Ltd. has a long history of innovation in cold form steel manufacturing and producing innovative precision roll forming technology for customers throughout the United States and the world. Check out their machine buyer's guide for off-site modular construction or fast build construction with light steel for framing. Go to their website, howickltd.com. Brought to you by Greatech, one of the largest Autodesk partners globally and software developer of the PowerPack Advanced Design, Advanced Steel, and the StruxSoft product line. The complete solution to automate wood and light gauge steel framing, design, and documentation all the way out to CNC output, model, design, and manufacture with StruxSoft. Learn more at StruxSoftSolutions.com. All right, again, a big thank you to all of our supporting members out there, and make sure you go support them as well. We can't continue to bring you all of these informative conversations without them. This is a hot topic, at least in this household where I am completely outnumbered. Jennifer, foot and mouth, I get it all the time. Hey, so listen, Jennifer, Women in Construction Week. We talk about all the time that, all right, why is it 1 week, but why is it even a topic?
Yeah, I don't even know where to start. Sometimes I get speechless when it comes to this topic. First of all, I just want to...
Not off camera.
I want to celebrate all of the amazing women in construction. And when we threw the question out to ChatGPT, we definitely got some great answers, right? Recognize and highlight the contributions of women in the construction industry. Draw attention to the achievements, challenges, and opportunities that women face in traditionally male-dominated field so that organizations, companies, and individuals can focus their efforts on promoting diversity, inclusion, and gender equality within the construction sector, promote ongoing efforts to increase the representation of women in construction roles, and to foster a culture of inclusivity and support for women in the construction industry every day. And the final reason why ChatGPT said that we celebrate Women in Construction Week was to create lasting change.
Lasting change. Well, we definitely are going to create lasting change in today's conversation because we got a whole bunch of through the years of women in construction conversations that we're going to play for you from around the world, which is going to be a lot of fun. So, Jennifer, just because my spidey senses are up, lasting change. What kind of lasting change are we looking at?
Well, let's talk about current change. We are just coming off the heels of two amazing trade shows, right? The biggest home builder show, right?
International Builder Show, Las Vegas.
In Las Vegas.
And then Advancing Prefab.
Exactly. So at the International Builder Show, the chairperson of the NAHB is Alicia Huey, who we recently hosted not too long ago, right? So I think she had mentioned that she's only one of 3 people who have chaired the National Association of Home Builders, as a woman. But it's exciting that these are the times that we're in right now. Let's move to advancing prefabrication, where
Ooh.
it was top-notch educational sessions and networking opportunities morning, noon, and night. I mean, it was incredible. And I really need to give a big shout out to the event organizers, Hanson Wade. Nobody out there obviously is perfect and does everything without one or two, things that could have been done better. But here's what I'll say about this. Nicole Moy from Hanson Wade, she is an incredible event organizer, really on top of so many of the details, and has built an incredible team, setting up an amazing lineup of speakers. And the event ambassador, none other than our own Queen of Prefab, Amy Marks.
The Queen of Prefab. Right. I'm going to get a King hat one of these days. I keep telling her. I'm going to just show up with a Burger King hat on. But she really is, man. She's a huge advocate for the industry and does amazing things. And this event is so successful because of folks like Amy. And Amy, bringing in Jamie from Bryden Woods and others. I mean, it was just an incredible event. And but the Hanson Wade team. I mean, it's all women. I mean, it is just, and they're on it.
Yeah, running around and making the magic happen. So it's exciting to know that two of these huge events, have a huge presence, equal presence, men and women. And coming up in the next couple of weeks, we have World of Modular happening in Orlando. And
we do.
Even there, we have some terrific speakers that are represented there. We have Evelina from DMD Modular. We have Merrick McComber from Autovol, who's amazing.
Modular Maven.
Absolutely. We have Stacy Tanner from ModLogic. And I'm pretty sure that Heather Wallace and
Heather Wallace will be speaking too.
Right. And Sarah Logan and so many other great.
Evelina from DMD.
Yeah.
From Poland will be there. She's the CEO of DMD Modular in Poland.
Yeah, so there's really terrific examples right now everywhere you look of women leading in construction. It's terrific.
It is terrific. Jen, why don't we hop into some of these videos showing some of these leading women in construction? We're going to take you on a whirlwind tour, but it's not so much a whirlwind. And we're going to blow stuff up at the end of the show. We have one guest that blows up modules for a living. So you're going to want to stick around for that one. And if you're watching this as a recorded version, do not fast forward to the end just because you like to see explosions like I do. All right, let's start it off here at an event that we did a few years ago at the SBCA, and we'll play this.
So this is a subject that's very near and dear to my heart because I wasted a lot of years figuring out what I wanted to do in college.
Women are just like anyone else. We all just want to do something creative and something that challenges us. So I think that's number one, but we got to get them early. I think it's really important that we get into the schools and we start showing women the different types of work that they can do in construction.
How is it being the only woman out there, amongst all these people?
It's definitely very challenging, a little bit of a different dynamic, but there's so many opportunities for lots of women to get involved in various levels. I personally never would have seen myself in that particular role, but somebody that was a leader of mine saw some things in me and pushed me in that direction, and I'm very thankful for that.
Mentoring, bringing people through, not just men, not just women, but everyone, grabbing them by the ears, showing them what a fantastic place that we all work.
So Jennifer, at that event at the SBCA, they actually had a real focus on some of the women that are in construction, and they were on stage not because they're just women in construction, but because they're leaders in the space who just happen to be women.
Yeah, I mean, it was an incredible testament also to, again, the event organizers. I give a huge shout out to Jess Blows and the team over there at SBCA because they did pull together this presentation and hosted these roundtable discussions. I mean, we're talking about Wendy Boyd from Spida Machinery. We're talking about MyTech. We're talking about Katrina Horstman, an engineer from Eagle Metal, Catherine Hill. These are all amazing engineers, architects, designers, people in the space. leading by example,
Yeah.
followed by roundtable discussions on how you get more women involved. And I loved it when Wendy said, pull them by the ear. It's not just about mentoring, it's also about sponsoring, which is something Tourette Tierney is going to talk a little bit about later in this episode.
Ooh, Tourette Tierney's on. But first, we got to go to England.
Let's go.
Let's do England.
Well, I'm looking after mainly its internal fit out. So this is my first time I'm working with the panels. I do get involved in external as well. I'm finding system very, very good because we could be installing panels at level 10 and first fixing or second fixing on level 8. So it's quite a good system. Everyone just getting on with it. And yeah, so far so good, as I would say.
This is a big project. I mean, this isn't just one building. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the overall project here?
So the project is quite big. It's one of the biggest projects at Westons. It's at the moment what we're doing is the first phase. We are starting doing the second phase where we're gonna have 28 stories building.
28-story building. And she was overseeing the entire project. How awesome is that? Weston Homes is the developer. However, that was British Offsite's new panel system before they built the 137,000 square foot factory, which we're going to see here soon. And we're going to show you what it's all about, fully automated system and all of that. But how awesome is that?
Yeah, so let's talk about this. Raminta's from Eastern Europe. She's working in London for Weston Homes and using the British Offsite panelized system, which she had never used before. So she was literally learning on the job. And we're not talking about any job. We're talking about a 7-year build out. This is a huge development happening right outside of London, overlooking an amazing view, city skylines. This was not a small project, and Raminta was ready for the job.
She was ready for the job. And we were over there with Howick on that trip, which was a lot of fun. So thank you to Howick. They're always supporting us. And we had a great view from the top of the New Zealand Embassy for an event that we had. All right, Jennifer, the house that she built. I mean, this was awesome, right? We got to hang out with so many of these folks at the International Builders Show. Why don't you go ahead?
Yeah, so huge shout out to Stephanie Daly. And it was so fun to see, if you're watching, it was so great to see you last week at the International Builder Show and to see everything that you're doing. This team was incredible. And we also have to thank the National Association of Home Builders. This was one of our first on location shoots. And I couldn't have been more excited to cover this, Dave. But the irony of this was at the time we were traveling in the motorhome, all 5 of us, our daughters were only 13. And we thought, wow, this is the first on location shoot we're doing in our new motorhome. Let's bring our 13-year-old daughter,
our new used motorhome,
to the house that she built to meet these incredible women. And I was a little bit crushed when I said to Eve and Dahlia, let's go check this out. It's incredible. This is history in the making. And 13-year-old twins, snarky in their response, said, Mom, why is this a big deal? It's totally not a big deal. You're just over dramatic as usual about it.
Well, I mean, come on, granted, we do drag them around to every factory and every job site now for almost a year. So to them, it was they weren't putting 2 and 2 together.
Well, actually, Dave, their answer shocked me when I recovered from, being crushed by it. They were like, Mom, why is this a big deal? Women can do anything.
Why was it a big deal?
Mic drop. It was just, from their perspective, it wasn't necessarily something worth celebrating because it's just something that should happen automatically all the time, day in and day out. And that was a pretty telling moment as a mom.
All right, here we go. Can we play now?
Let's go.
Mom.
Building Group of Utah was started about 3 years ago by Kristen Smith. And we are an ambitious group of women that all got together, and we never thought if we could do it. It was just how quickly can we do it? So From there, that's where the house that she built came together. And then we just grew our team and found enough people, found the land.
Right.
Everyone came from Seattle to Maine. So all across the US, we had people join in. And the cool thing was they did it for free.
We had an event, it was probably about 3 years ago. Back in the day, they were just creating the Utah PWB. So it was really, really fresh. A group was just started. And I went to one of those events, and at which I was able to sit around with the remarkable examples of the women, the fellow women in the PWB, and I learned their stories. And I realized I'm not alone in this industry of construction. And then I realized that they built a sisterhood, and I just jumped on board. And I said, what do you need from me? What can I do? And so they just mentioned, oh, engineering. We need an engineer.
Right.
Let's do this.
You know, the leadership organization within home building needs those resources. They need those fresh ideas. They need a diverse workforce. And so the students that are coming out of the construction industry right now are so invaluable. Find those mentors and find people that will help you get into the right spaces and in front of the right audience to make a name for yourself.
Yeah, for sure. And that really starts by coming and knocking on a door just like this house here and saying, hey, where can I help?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, Paret, what is your one thing? If you were to tell students out there or people looking to join, young women, what would you tell them?
So it's funny, I don't love social media, but I love the social network that it's created. And I think collaboration and finding that team that you can surround yourself with that supplements you, whether you're an executive who needs to be supplemented by skill sets that you don't have, or you're just starting out in the industry and you need to surround yourself with people that can help build you up and give you access and resources.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And there you have it. You're hearing it all the way from the top. Paret Tierney, thank you so much for taking a few moments to talk to us today. This is awesome. Thanks for your contribution to the house that she built. And I think this is going to spread all across the country and hopefully the world. So there you have it, everybody. I'm Dave Cooper. We are live on location with NAHB student chapters, bringing you the best in the industry, doing wonderful things. Paret, have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
And everybody All right, Jen. How awesome is Tourette and the rest of the team there? The engineer, by the way, she's just fabulous. She's like, Brianne, like she had a big flower in her hair, and she's a structural engineer. But she, like, engineers, right? Some of them are personality, some of them not so much personality. She had the personality.
She was terrific, so inspiring. And, if anyone was looking for a mentor, male or female, Priyandi is definitely an inclusive type of person, encouraging. And two things that I learned here, not just from the conversations we just watched, but from all of the conversations that happened in and around the house that she built. Number one, spoiler alert, it wasn't just women. It wasn't. There were plenty of men who made this project happen from, like Paret was saying, a sponsorship perspective, like really pushing these women forward, supporting them, encouraging them to, go above and beyond, but also from a trade perspective and all of the elements that need to be pulled together in order to create and complete a project like this. The difference is women weren't afraid to take the lead and really come together and work together and support each other. And this was a really great example of that collaboration, companionship, and support. It was really exciting to see. It was exciting to see. In fact, it was the little plumber girl, I think, flew from Pittsburgh just to do the plumbing out there. And I will tell you, this house was in a neighborhood of hundreds and hundreds of other homes being built in a development. And it was the cleanest job site that you would ever walk into. And by the way, lesson learned for the rest of you general contractors out there, they had crumble cookies for everybody. So I don't know if that was a daily thing, but it's a good way to get the sugar fix and keep going. And on a fair note, I mean, there was a lot of people that partook in this. It was mainly all women on that entire project. And I have to say, it was an incredible feat to pull that many people together. But it's kind of like she was saying, it's like, well, once you said this is what we're doing, people just wanted to help. It did. And for all of the stories that we heard from each and every single one of those women in those videos and more, we heard from pretty much every single one of them, I felt alone.
Yeah.
I was the only one. I was the only woman in my class. I was the only woman in my trade association, whatever it might be. But this group that came together was incredible. And it gave us the experience to meet people like Molly Elkman and so many others who have taken the house that she built to new heights and inspired so many to build it better.
All right, let's talk about women that are building robots that build bridges. Bridges. That's right. Robot that actually lays 60-foot sections of rebar, and then there's Tybot, right, that comes behind it, ties it all, and then it scans everything. This is pretty cool technology, and it's right here in our backyard in Pittsburgh. You waiting for me to show it? You got nothing to say? You're speechless?
Danielle, I'll save it till later.
All right.
It's just smart machinery.
Right.
You know, the robotic side of it, I think sometimes people get scared of.
Yeah.
It's just making a very useful machine smarter.
And helping people be smarter.
And helping us be smarter and safer.
Right.
And enabling not only, you know, we got a new kind of workforce being developed in these robot supervisors, but we're also talking about career longevity. So, you know, if you think about it right now, the average construction worker, retirement age is sitting somewhere around like 54, 55.
Right.
What if we could extend that for 10 years so that they're not doing the work that's beating up their body, but they can continue working with these tools?
Yeah.
We're coming up on our 4 millionth tie count.
Is out there.
Well, it's not only just laying it, it's lifting it, it's carrying it, it's placing it.
Yeah.
These two together, it's going to be a game changer.
Right. I love it. These two together, it's going to be a game changer. But she's right. I mean, they're building all over the United States and I guess around the world now with this. And I mean, come on. I mean, construction, especially road construction, bridge construction, it's hard work. You ever watch how people having to walk on the rebar? The fact that they came up with this technology to do this is astounding. And guess what? For all of you that are like us in Pennsylvania, where since you were a kid, the same highways being worked on for $20 to $25 million a mile, you wonder why it never ends. This is a solution that works day and night, rain or snow, and can help us build it better. And they are making waves.
Yeah, I mean, Danielle is amazing. Not only did she have her own excavating company here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I mean, she started out as a, women-owned construction company here. Not only she works for Advanced Construction Robotics. Not only is she extending the current life of existing workers in the field, she's also making it a more inclusive environment, allowing more people to participate in work like this.
That's right.
Because of the advanced robotics they're using on site.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm actually going to put it on screen so you can see what it is, right? I mean, it's IronBot. She doesn't just work for him. She's the CEO. I know. She is the one saying this is how we're getting from A to Z. And by God, we're going to do it with a lot of fun. You can tell she's a ton of fun. And she can deal in the iron world. But I think what's also interesting about Danielle, she came from the concrete space. She owned her own concrete and masonry company for a lot of years before coming out of retirement to do this.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. So not only is she an accomplished professional in the space of construction, she's like a sick golfer. Sick.
Yeah.
So throwing around the irons on the golf course, making it all happen at the job site. Kudos to you, Danielle. Keep up the great work.
Yep. All right. So let's go back across the pond. As always, we have a lot of guests from around the world. We have a global conversation here. And we had Trudy Solly, who was just recently, well, not too recently, but not too long ago either, less than a year ago on our show.
She's been on multiple times.
She has a word. Yeah, I know. But I mean, the smart of the smart always get back on the Dave Cooper Live show. I mean, they got a lot to share.
A lot to say. Mm-hmm.
Right? You've been back multiple times too.
I keep wondering why. Just kidding.
Trudy Solly, everyone,
Seismic
never get in trouble.
Is one of the ones that started off with just a couple of off-site companies that had good established sort of base already. They recognized the opportunity for applying the principles of a platform approach. And as a result, they now have probably one of the most advanced systems. Now, they're still early days. They are still a budding enterprise in their own right, but they've developed this system. They are licensing it, and they've got some really, really good results from their early testing, to the point of, so I do have them written down, 75% improvement in speed and efficiency against traditional, and a 70% reduction in carbon based on previous delivery of the same building types. So massive results from pushing this system, standardizing what they do, developing a platform approach, and starting to deploy it in earnest now.
Platform approach. Big conversations all over the place, which I think super interesting. Having these kit of parts, right, that any architect can use, and building communities that can use these platforms. I know my hand's blurring us out, right? You want to see something cool? Let's see if it works.
No fireworks.
Dang, no fireworks. That's not true, Jen.
Trudy Sully is creating all the fireworks. First with her work with Construction Innovation Hub, and then later, now currently with Mott MacDonald. Trudy's another one that is building a community around the world of other amazing men and women who really are driving transformation in the built environment. Their work is not just, behind their four walls or on their job sites. Their work is accessible by anyone who's interested in learning more. And that is just a testament to Trudy and the teams that she's chosen to surround herself with.
Yeah, and they got great accents as well. I mean, let's be real. But Trudy is one of the smartest people I think we've had on the show. They've done so much with Martin Fenn and others that do similar things that we do here at Dave Cooper Live from different parts of the world. So if you're not familiar with Trudy and the work that they're doing, she also works with Bryden Wood and Jamie and all those. Yeah. It's quite amazing. So super cool to have her on. And I'm sure we'll see her probably for the years out again.
Hope so.
All right. Queen of Prefab. What do you know? What do you know about the Queen of Prefab?
Yeah, I mean, again, being with Amy last week and seeing the work she's done and continues to do in bringing people together and pulling out nuggets of golden information from others, the way she works a panel discussion, if you're not familiar with it, to be honest, it can be a little intimidating. You're like, okay, what is she going to ask me? Am I ready to come up with a good answer? But she is pulling golden nuggets out of people and really facilitating a conversation that needs to happen.
Yeah, definitely. If you're sitting in the room with Amy, be prepared. Make sure you're listening, because she may just look at you and go, what's the answer? Right? But she's very engaging. Here we go. Let's put Amy up on the screen here. And
how do we get the maker's information up front attached to the component that architects and engineers are either consuming or owners are looking at to do things like test fit? So we have lots of customers want to understand that, not just how it's made and how it can be configured or how it can be actually customized, but they want to know things like the environmental information about that skid. They want to know about if the pieces and parts are available from the supply chain. They want to know that every time they use that skid, that they can see past performance of when it's been used. So we're on this evolution to really make sure that I in building information modeling is more and more intelligent. And I think all of our tools are starting to do that, whether it's from things like Insights, working within Revit. We have to stop using assumption-based design. Yeah. Assumption-based design is what's putting trash into our landfills. It's what's making us unable to create automation and invest in it in our factories. It's what's stopping us from really improving upon what we make. So I think that's the reason that informed design is so important, that people really want from what's going on right now.
All right, Amy, we just spent another couple of days with Amy and the team out at Advancing Prefab. And, this year's conversation out there was so much about data and mobile data centers and our modular data centers. It's funny, every year, the conversation gets deeper and deeper and deeper. And one of the things that they're really focusing on at Advancing Prefab, not just for women, I know it's women in construction, but just trying to always remember that if we want new people in our space, we have to always start from the beginning so people can catch up, because the conversations are probably the deepest conversations out of any event. So if you're an expert in this area and you want to be challenged, it's a great place to go. If you're not an expert in this area and you want to learn, it's still a great place to go, because they try and simplify it for everybody.
Definitely.
Love it. Love it. Love it.
Who's up next?
Cheryl Palmer. Who's that? Do you know who that is?
Chairman and CEO of Taylor Morrison. We are totally doing a throwback right now. This is one of Dave's first interviews.
Audio sucks, but you'll enjoy it.
But Taylor Morrison obviously is one of the biggest builders here in the U.S. And Cheryl Palmer has been their chairman and CEO for quite some time now.
Yeah.
Publicly held company. You can look them up. She is incredibly engaging, incredibly bright, incredibly interested in the client experience, and so dedicated to her employees, at least outwardly facing. You know, we don't know what happens behind closed doors, but outwardly facing is very dedicated to her teams who are really building for tomorrow. So let's check it out.
Yeah. And remember, stick around. We're going to blow things up at the end of the show, like literally blow up buildings. So stick around. It's going to be fun. Here's Cheryl. Hey everyone, this is Dave Cooper, and we are in Scottsdale, Arizona at the Housing Innovation Alliance live roundtable event. And I have the pleasure of talking to CEO Cheryl Palmer of Taylor Morrison Homes, who is our keynote speaker this year. Cheryl, thanks so much for coming.
Oh, David, thank you. Such a pleasure to be here.
So tell us just a little bit about, this is your first event. What are you talking about in your keynote? Can you give the audience a brief synopsis?
Sure. I'm so excited to be here and talk about innovation in our industry. And I think what we'll talk through in my session is really lead up the day. Today is really about the customer experience. And then I think tomorrow's agenda really is around product and innovation and building sciences. And the ever-changing customer and understanding what's important to them and how the demographics are changing and our experience economy. What does that really mean for home building? Do we just do it the way we've always done it and hope people are going to come? Or is it really about understanding who our customer is, what their needs are, so we can be as efficient and we can design product that really meets the need and attainable for all potential homeowners.
Right. So with that said, where do you see the industry heading from an innovation standpoint over the next 5 years?
Well, I think, once again, there's so many different ways to look at innovation. I am hoping from a customer standpoint, as an industry, we raise the bar. When I think about how important this purchase decision is, and how our industry is regarded, there's a real opportunity. When I think about technology in the home, I think we're seeing very fast changes, and I think that's great in that the consumer can be nimble and really understand how to use innovation and technology for what's right for them. When I think about building sciences, we're like in early innings. So I know there's a lot of discussion planned here the next few days, but we've been talking about this for decades. And I'm very hopeful that in the next 5 years, we really start to see some progress that changes the face of attainable housing for homeowners.
So with that said, I really appreciate you taking the time to come and talk to me this morning and for the Housing Innovation Alliance. All right. So what do you guys think of that? Cheryl Palmer, I mean, huge company. She's doing amazing things. You see her all over the news all the time. So what do you want me to say?
So I feel like after watching that a couple of times, and that was a throwback. I mean, we're going back several years now. Number one, I think that just in that short interview, everything she said is completely relevant to today's home building marketplace. Yeah. Everything from the client experience to building science and innovation and everything else. So the good news is like when Cheryl was talking, she was hitting a lot of topics that are super relevant today. I think the bad news in that is we're still working on them. We're still working on housing attainability and housing affordability. We're still trying to improve the client experience, both as a builder and as a home buyer. We're still trying to incorporate building science in meaningful ways, you know, to really create those efficient homes and those, you know, comfortable, healthy homes. So I really think Cheryl has a lot more work to do, but I think she's continuing to make it happen.
All right, we're going back around the world, but then back to California because we had Helena Lidlow on from Limbach before she was with Volumetric Building Companies. Let's hear what she has to say about the changing world. Dad, what do you mean by stable operations?
For me, stable operations are predictable. So we know what's happening. We know what projects we have. We know that when that project comes in, we have a fully defined process for how to handle that project, and we know exactly what we're supposed to be doing in manufacturing and on site. Reaching that stability is a long process. When I worked at Lindbäcks, we were at it for a decade, and it takes time to get us there. So now being started a startup and being part of that ramp up of flurry of events that happen in the early phases, it's both super stimulating, but it's also extremely exhausting because you need to kind of have the final target and always in sight, so you can stabilize not only design but also purchasing and all the support processes that goes with the facilities of running a factory, the manufacturing itself, and the on-site operations. All of that needs to kind of stabilize.
Yeah, no stranger to this show either. She's very, very much one of the most intelligent people in offsite construction automation on a global basis.
Yeah.
She's got it going on.
Yeah. I mean, she's a teacher by trade. She's an engineer. I mean, she's doing incredible things. And I think, Dave, you know, I almost wish that we saved that interview for last, because Helena actually answered our question, which is, can you create lasting change in just 1 week? And in that conversation, you clearly heard her say that they identified one problem that they've been working on for over a decade. And my sense is that they were working on it day in and day out. So with anything in this world, if you want to see progress, if you want to see improvement, if you want to create lasting change, spoiler alert, it doesn't happen 1 week a year.
No. Why you gotta be such a spoiler?
I don't know. Let's go to blowing things
There's
up
people
now.
doing it though, Jennifer. I had a conversation today that somebody's using AI with robotics in a factory now, and you can do bespoke products. It doesn't have to be the same thing down the line. It'll build whatever's on the Autodesk or AutoCAD or Revit plan or whatever they call these things. All right, we're gonna blow things up now. This last guest from Fortress, right, is doing modular in a different way, and thought about this one just because of our recent trip to Advancing Prefabrication. And how do we protect critical infrastructure? How do we protect our data systems? How do we protect telecommunication? How do we protect the CIA sitting in little huts, you know, that need to be protected?
Well, you know what, before you go to that, Dave, because it's funny, it's come a long way, right? Because we were somewhere yesterday touring a facility where they were testing things that they were absolutely expecting to blow up.
Yes.
And when this facility was built, you know, and this isn't a joke, I am not making fun of this at all, but 50 years ago when this building was built, their Fortress protection plan included a huge mound of dirt behind the building. So when you think about how far we have come, we've come a long way.
Yeah, it was definitely a huge amount of dirt, but it had concrete inside of it too, for sure. I gotta get my fireworks to hey, my fireworks working. All right, everybody, enjoy this one. Let's watch it.
In some of these areas where there's natural hazards, so whether it's wildfires, tornadoes, hurricanes, but then also some in remote locations where there might be exposures to security threats, mission critical buildings associated with telephone infrastructure, data centers, these remote edge data centers that are a bit smaller. This building is perfect for that because it handles all of the natural hazards and the security threat issues. And so we've been talking to some of the folks in those industries as well. And this adds a little bit different robustness than the standard steel metal buildings that you'll see in those industries. So excited to bring another option to provide that protection to make sure that for mission critical things, it stays online and is there when we need it.
Oh, here we got another video. Shall we add it to the screen?
Yeah, which one is that? Oh, this one's a good one. Okay, so let me give you some context here. All right, so what you see on the left is Baker Risk deflagration load generator, and it can simulate vapor cloud explosions. So if you think about industrial events, we all see these explosions on the news all the time. This box allows us to understand how structures respond without it happening out in the field. So you'll see the explosion come from there, and we're looking at two different specimens. One is our Fortress Defender, which you can see there at the bottom, which is 18 feet long, 12 feet wide, and 10 feet high. And then next to it is a traditional blast resistant steel metal building. So whether we're in an industrial setting or if we're talking about data centers, this is typically what you would call a protective building. As this plays through, you're going to see what happens inside on the metal building up top, the Defender on the bottom, and then it'll zoom in and show you both of those again. And I'll tell you what that means for protection after the video is over. So we didn't even spill our Gatorade for that.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's important.
That's important. What were we doing in that series of videos is we were trying to highlight for industry the difference between building response and actual vulnerability inside that building, whether that be to a person or to critical equipment. So you'll see that the metal building slides over 7.5 feet on the inside side. What that sliding does is that creates what we call internal debris hazards. And you will see that stuff kind of flies around everywhere. In addition to that, the reflected wall steel is designed to flex. And with that flex, you can see that it causes a bend in that front wall and things start moving.
What do you think of that, Jennifer? We got to blow things up now that I'm unmuted.
I know, always. I mean, what kind of show on women in construction would not end in a major, major explosive moment? I mean, come on.
Dude, I don't know. I forget to even I started watching my own show. I forgot I was even having to do anything here. But, you know, Karen, I mean, she's doing amazing things. The team out there is doing amazing things. And, you know, today, critical infrastructure is more important than ever. For instance, these little phones of ours, AT&T went down a couple weeks ago, right? Could have been somebody else, whatever the case was, but I had no cell phone service. We have blackouts in New York City, LA. You know, and it's very viable for, you know, somebody that doesn't like us, and I don't know who wouldn't like us in this country, but to get to our critical infrastructure, and they're really working on solutions to help protect things.
Yeah, no, I mean, it is amazing. And so I think the point of today's show is really just showing everybody a cross section of all of the amazing people in our industry doing many different things,
That's right.
All walks of life, all backgrounds, all levels of education. There really is no one entry point to joining this amazing AECO community. You know, and I think it's just like everything else. Like if you want to be good at anything, it's just about dedicating your time and making it happen and bringing it to the forefront of the conversation. It's not hard. It doesn't need to be limited to 1 week a year. It can be talked about all the time. No one's going to get 2 demerits if you talk about it next week or the week after. But I just want to say it's been an honor and a pleasure to really host so many brilliant women in construction on Dave Cooper Live.
Yes, it has been an amazing honor, and it's awesome to have Jennifer also joining us on Dave Cooper Live, which hopefully we'll see more of that in the future. Because I think it's the smart thing to do, and also I think it'll attract more leaders in this industry. You know, we have so many great women leaders across the industry, and like we said, it shouldn't even be a conversation. I never look at it as anything different other than you're awesome. Who's best for the job? And I think that's what is the most important thing in our conversations, anyhow. But with that, Jen, that's a wrap. Anything else?
Yeah, no, I want to leave everybody with one last quote that you actually just touched upon. You know how much we miss our dear friend Jerry McCaughey from Integra. And again, in our early days, we had the good luck to meet him and do a tour of the factory.
And become really good friends.
In Modesto, California. And walking through, and I had a similar experience yesterday too, at the tour we did yesterday. So I'm really excited about these things. So, walking through, looking around, there were so many women working at Integra, both in the fab shop and also in the office and everywhere, pretty much everywhere, lots of women. So I said, Jerry, like what initiative do you guys have in place that, you have so many women working here? It's California. What are you guys doing? Like, is there something special in California? And he looked at me and, in his accent, and he said, Jennifer, what are you talking about? I just hire the best person for the job. And it was almost as if I insulted him with my question. And what he was trying to tell us was, I just hired the best person for the job. I'm not looking to see who they are, where they're from, or anything else. And,
that's right.
Granted, our friends at Integra are no longer there, but boy, that was a great team. And it was great to see so many smiling faces there. For sure.
Oh, they're there. They're just working with volumetric building companies, a lot of them. Yeah, they're still around, and they moved in the industry. So, all right, everybody, listen, that is a wrap for today's show. If you're out there doing great things, keep doing great things, and appreciate everybody you work with. And Jen, thanks for joining us today and helping put this one together.
You bet. Have a great day.
Don't forget to check out these sponsors. Thanks, everybody. Bye now. What an amazing show. Thank you to all of our sponsors for helping us to continue to bring all of these innovative conversations to all of you out there. Please visit them, see what they have to offer you, and as always, subscribe to the YouTube channel and ring that bell. It would mean the world to us. I'm Dave Cooper. Thanks for watching.